the next of our Fireside Chats now, and our title is ESG, Navigating the New Normal. My guest is Vitold Horodecki, Chief Procurement Officer at Capgemini. Hello, how are you? Thanks for joining us.
Good. Welcome. Really happy to be there.
Excellent stuff. As I said, this is the next of our Fireside Chats, and in terms of titles, I'm fascinated by this title. The New Normal, ESG. What is the new normal? Talk me through that title for a start.
So what we say, navigating the never normal is, before, after COVID, there was a lot of talk about new normal. How we are going to new normal, like if we were plateauing from one state to another one. And I think it's misleading. I think it will be never normal. When you see since COVID all what happened, we are living in a very chaotic and uncertain world where things change at very, very fast pace, and where we need to be ready. And if you look, because if you expect the new plateau, you can relax before the next crisis. I think that's where people may be wrong, to be honest, because we saw through COVID that most organizations, including ourselves, were not always ready for it. We were already caught off guard, despite being predicted by many scientists. So it's now changing case of mind, saying it's not normal, it's not stable. We need to create and build agile, strong, but at the same time agile organization to navigate through all the crises coming up. 2023, you can see it's already being reached of event. 2024, I'm sure, will be exactly the same, in particular with US election. So we need to be ready to think differently. And if you want to take a naval, I would say, comparison, we need to go through the storms and then see the storms with the S and still go to to reach our destination.
Because I guess what's important, that it's the new normal for everybody, everyone involved in the supply chain, everyone involved in the procurement operation. It has to be the new normal for everyone to be able to interact with it. Do you think that's fair?
For me, on the new normal, it's really and how to manage this never-ending normal is really, and what now it's a really strange time to me. And our philosophy for right now is one foot on the brake and one foot on the gas, which can sound counterintuitive, but if you look at the US economy as an example, one foot on the brake, interest rate are raised a lot the last month. At the same time, unemployment rate is really low, so the economy is not that slowing down. So it's really a very strange situation where we are, and we're not different. It's not anymore either you brake or you accelerate. It's both at the same time. If you take in rally races, people to go for very sharp turn, they have to do it. They're the only way to take a very sharp turn very quickly. So we have to adapt. We need to, as a procurement, we are used to have the one foot on the brake. When you have high inflation, when you have all what's going on today, you just realize that we are there to put the foot on the brake. They know us. We have a time to shine. That's kind of, say, core business of procurement. At the same time, on the foot on the gas, to prepare the growth or sustain the growth that we are still seeing, we need to bring solution to the business. And bring solution to the business for us means bring partners. Enrich the ecosystem of the company with trusted partners that can work with you through the storms, again, can bring you innovative solution, being ready to do the next jump. And that's where procurement have a very big value add that can add to the discussion.
As you say there, and that analogy for me is absolutely spot on with the foot on the gas and the foot on the brake. It shows what a dynamic environment it is at the moment. How do you go about managing that, though, when the environment is so dynamic?
It's really to be, again, back to say, so to have what we do for us, back to the procurement team, to the procurement committee, is to have a clear sourcing strategy defined for all your categories with a clear plan, but still planning for what if we need to change everything? What if it stops? What is in a contract? For example, do we have exit clause? Can we have suspending clause? Can we delay if we need to delay, depending on the market? Do we have enough, back to the supply chain side, do we have enough suppliers spread across the world, not only in China or in some spots where that can be blocked? So it's really about adapting ourselves. So you have a vision, you have a strategy for your laptop or whatever category, raw material, but preferred partners, not anymore one, but I think when we're in a world of dual, if not triple sourcing, just to balance just intake and supply. And at the same time, again, planning in your contract or planning with suppliers, what if scenarios? What if COVID hits again? What if we have a new pandemic? What if there is tension in the China Sea, what do we do? That's the kind of thing we need to be ready for.
But with those what-if scenarios, and that's something I would like to dig into for a moment, do you feel that's something that's, over the last, say, 5 years or so, that has grown? It's gone from a nice-to-have, or for people who are particularly advanced or well-prepared, to something everyone should be doing?
I think everybody should be doing it now. If you don't do what-if, or either in terms of even in your sourcing strategies, for us, which are core to make sure we are efficient, even when you go further on this logic, you need to, even in your contract, you have the flexibility in your contract, which can need to be fair with your supplier, don't get me wrong. It's not just cancelling it, but do we have mutual flexibility to make sure we can go through a crisis together? Again, back to the partnership, bring partner to growth. Imagine you are working with a partner that gets his supply chain stuck. What can you do with him? Again, thinking about the box and planning, saying, okay, do we suspend? Do we delay? What can we do together? Rather than, oh, okay, you breach your contract and stop.
So for all of this, how do all of these different aspects fit into sustainability? Because it's a huge goal for everybody. It's hardwired into everything everyone's trying to do. How do you feel it attaches to the sustainability agenda?
It's a tough one. For me, again, back to what we said, it's counterintuitive because sustainable products or services tend to be more expensive. That's a fact. Tend to be, not always, but true one tend to be more expensive. So how do you manage that? Before, we all normally should be familiar with TCO, total cost of ownership. So in Capgemini, what we did TCSO for total sustainable cost of ownership, to say everything we buy as a buyer as an aspect of sustainability built into it, and that it can help us to align with Capgemini net zero commitment for 2040. So when we take decision, when we select a supplier, we take sustainability, even if it's a bit more expensive short term, but we look at the long term into account for decision making. For example, we award this year our furniture supplier a supplier award because it was the first one to commit with us on CO2 reduction. And here I must insist and be tough. We need beware of fake green. A lot of still, and it's upset me to be honest, a lot of still greenwashing. What you need is really be able to buy or calculate CO2 on your products, the services you buy. For example, if you take back the example of a chair or product from raw material production, recycling, upskilling, find partners that can really do that. And PCC just showed that large corporations have a big responsibility on what's going on the climate side. So we have the duty, for me it's a duty, to make it right and to make it good. And we have the power to make it good. So is it difficult? No doubt, but it's essential, so we have to do it.
Because it isn't so long ago that it was the price, it was the value to the business that was the number one aspect of any bit of procurement business. But with the sustainability necessities that are there, the regulations that are there, the guides, the targets, is that for you almost the foundation to our new normal? The fact that there needs to be sustainability considerations built into every deal?
Oh yeah, that's why we say TCA. So we do that for every deal right now. We have a net zero clause that we are making mandatory. It's like it used to be supplier standard of conduct or ethical guides was about 5 years ago due to new regulation. Now we have for any contract we're net zero. Even we are opening right now as we speak, we are reopening every single contract to add our net zero clause as an addendum. And if a supplier will not accept them, and if they cannot prove it, then most probably we'll start doing a new RFP or a new sourcing exercise to find the suppliers that can support us. It's essential. We have no choice. Our CEO set very good and aggressive targets. We need to reduce our carbon footprint from scope 3, so supply chain, by 50% in 2030, knowing that as a people business, our carbon emission is very linked to our employees. We are growing and we need to decrease at the same time CO2 emissions. So we need to find very good partners to help us in this journey.
Now, you mentioned earlier about beware of greenwashing, and I'm sure there's plenty of people watching today who it keeps them up at night worrying about maybe the green credentials of some of the people they work with, maybe if they're people they've not worked with before. What advice would you have to people about how to make sure that the green credentials are authentic and making sure you are completely on top of that for every step of your supply chain?
I would say first on this one, and it's first is know where you are. So first today, a lot of people are sometimes running a bit like we say less chicken. First, you need to go back to your basis, know where you are. Where are your big carbon emissions? So first, you need to be able to calculate your carbon footprint. A lot of companies can help you, including Capgemini. First, you take the carbon footprint. Then, second step, which is sometimes not done today, is to focus on big ticket items. I see too many times nice small steps. It's nice. Huh? It's nice to change your plastic coffee stirrer by bamboo or spaghettis. No harm to that. All the steps count, but reality, if you really want to accelerate, in particular with the timing we have, you need to really target the big things. And when you target the big things, you need to look at the true partners that can give you a CO2 emission at your product or service level, not just as a company. So it's not like you work with company A and yes, it will reduce or offset their carbon emission by X or Y. No, it's the product I buy from you. So the chair, back to the furniture example, or the raw material I buy from you. I want this piece measured, and I want, and ideally with SBTi initiative, where you have science-based measurement for what you are really doing, and that you can measure it, incorporate it into your reporting and what you do, and track it. Because again, you have a base. So once you calculate where you are, and you really need to go. And importantly as well, it needs to be a true carbon reduction, and it's not only offsetting by planting trees. I think we've seen over the market that planting trees was really could be problematic, and I think you really need. And again, it's hard. I'm insisting, but you need to find the partners that have a vision how to reduce their carbon footprint on their total production line.
So that's a great way of starting, looking at those big ticket issues. But I'm sure there's plenty of people in the audience today who, they do have a plan in place. They maybe have partners that they're working with, but they know they want to push things on to the next level, to get beyond those big ticket items and really start pushing on to the whole of their value chain. What advice would you have for them?
Be systematic. Again, it's a systematic approach from the top to the rest. And like I said, back to the ticket item. Today, I have to be honest, I've not seen a lot of colleagues that are successful on all their big ticket items. So yes, I think we'll go there, and we have to go there. I think we're not there yet, to be honest. Then for me, it's like tail spend. Once you have done the big ticket item, you become systematic for the lower spend, and it's easier because, again, you have a methodology, you have partners to support you, you start having better tools to report it, track it, so it gets easier as it goes along.
One key I often like to talk about here is the importance of honesty and a bit of humility when you're actually going through this kind of process. Because, as the expression is, if you turn over some stones, things start crawling out. How important is it to turn those stones over, to be honest and be humble about the operation you've got in place and almost look for failings?
Absolutely, but I think, again, back to partnerships, you need to know your supply base and supplier. And anyhow, anyone that's come to you, and again, for me, if it's too good to be true, it's either not true or not good. That's the story. It's always the same thing. And that's why we've seen when we have some of our partners coming to us with, okay, we can do 10% in the next 3 years, and here are we going to plan to do it. It takes some investment, that's why we're going to do it. It's not today, we'll take another day. This is our commitment to do it. Sometimes even sharing what they are looking for. Sometimes some of our clients even come to us for intelligent design, to help to redesign even the product to consume less CO2. A big talk right now that European Union is going to do that every phone will have to have a removable battery, that you don't throw your phone, that if you need battery dying, you can extend your phone for a longer time. So it's all this aspect. And when you go engaging with suppliers, you really see clearly who are there. And again, when you open the store and say, okay, show me, take me to your plant, take me to your operation, show me your building, you're saying they are carbon neutral, show me. And to be honest, so far we have been blessed, to be honest. Most of our suppliers are very honest on saying where they are, and some of them try greenwashing, and we say, guys, once you get serious, get back to us, we'll go with the one that wants to make it right. Maybe not today, but they're making the necessary investment and transformation of their operation to make it right.
We've talked a lot about sustainability, but let's talk about supplier diversity as well. For you, how important is that people are understanding of ways to access a more diverse supplier base?
I think you are correct. It's part of ESG because ESG is broader. We tend to focus on a lot of sustainability because, again, it's a topic, but it's not because it's difficult and a topic you should ignore the rest. ESG is core for us. Diversity is core at core, and even for supplier diversity. When I joined Capgemini 7 years ago at the Americas CPO, it was a very low spend and not really well managed. Now I'm proud to announce that more than 20% of our spend in North America is with diverse supplier. For us, it's critical. I think it's critical for many reasons because, again, it's the right thing to do to give more opportunity to people. And it's as well the good thing to do because back to what we discussed about finding suppliers that can help you to be agile. Clearly, diverse companies, at least in US and Canada, tend to be small and medium businesses. More agile, they can bring more innovative solution to smaller topic, not to change the entire world, they're not big enough, but on a very specific, well-defined topics, they can really accelerate your transformation, either sustainable or helping you to add agility on adding some services, some product very quickly, not going through the lengthy contract of a big supplier. And that's take times. You need to isolate where it makes sense, because if you hope to have diverse supplier in travel or core IT on laptops, it's difficult. But once you say, okay, it's a big ticket Excel, maybe not, but when you start diving, can I do refurbishing of laptops with a diverse supplier? Most probably you can. Supply chain for automotive. There are a lot of small automotive factory working for the big one. Can they transform for your product? Can they do expand above just automotive? Can they do something else? That's the kind of logic we need to do. And to be honest, I was in NMSDC Miami conference not a long time ago, and I'm always inspired and amazed by the energy of these entrepreneurs. So I think it's really good. It's good, again, it's good it's the right thing to do.
We are nearly out of time, but one question I do have to ask, because it's something that's come up time and again in our discussions today, and that's about Gen AI and about its impact in procurement. From your perspective as a tech company, how important is it? How revolutionary is it? The floor is yours. Where do you start with it in terms of how it's going to change the way we do things?
So first of all, I must confess I'm a total nerd. I love them. I'm using them all the time. I have to be transparent. This presentation has nothing to do with Gen AI. I have not used it at all. But on day-to-day, it's a fantastic assistant to use. I think it's the big next digital revolution with VR and AR. It's coming. And by the way, both of them will come at the same time and converge. It's the next big thing. It will revolutionize everything, starting from education, healthcare. It's amazing. I mean, the potential for Gen AI are just amazing, and it needs to be tackle and find the right use cases. What we are doing right now for our clients is to look at use cases, because you need to go a bit outside the wow effect of ChatGPT, which was really great, by the way. But if you step back, we start looking at it when AlphaGo beat Lisedol in 2016. Go was a game that was supposed to be beaten by no machine. Thanks to deep learning of AlphaGo from Google, they did. So it's not new. It's new to general public. So now let's take out the wow effect and let's look at very well-defined use cases where it can be applied successfully. ChatGPT, for example, if we take them, but it can be it's true for Bard as well. They are capable of lying. So if you rely on them to give you good case, and you have a very famous case now of a lawyer in US that used ChatGPT for a speech, and ChatGPT just invented cases that never existed. So we have to be, it's a great tool, but it needs to be taken a bit carefully for what they can do with their image, videos, text, and build real test case that makes sense. Taking into account two important pitfalls: copyright infringement, in the sense that do you want the data you use in commercial way, are you sure you have the right to use it, particularly when you go to image? Because Gen AI, they take whatever they can, and they don't really care if it's protected or not. Sometimes on some picture you can say DT image logo, so it's important to make sure you do it without breaking copyrights of others. And the second part is cybersecurity. Can be a very intrusive tool, taking some data back because they need to learn. They need to learn and they need to grow. So you need to make sure that the way you implement it is not making a data breach to your network. But when you take that into account, it's a fantastic opportunity to grow. And again, take a test case, make sure that they can work on your own data, ideally, or public data, and that can really enrich either conversation for customer center. And for me, on the day-to-day, it's really an assistant. Instead of having an admin, you have a virtual administrator, and it will just grow better and better. And everybody says, oh, there is a small mistake there and there. Yes, there are. But remember where we were 6 months ago on Gen AI, where it was just say, ChatGPT arrive, explode, everybody is at top of mind. Imagine in 18 months how good they will be.
Exactly. We will catch up on this in 18 months, I promise you. Thank you so much for joining us. I've really enjoyed your company. Thanks for joining us at Procurement and Supply Chain Live, New York.
Thank you so much. It was really a pleasure for me.
Absolutely. Thank you ever so much.